Space was quiet in the sector known as Viralia. Stars twinkled faintly, and small gas clouds drifted lazily between planets. But the calm of space was deceptive. Here, at the edge of the Galactic Council's influence, tensions simmered among the species that claimed dominion over the stars. A single ship moved steadily through this expanse. It was small by alien standards. Its hull was sleek but unassuming, a modest triangle of metal with engines that glowed soft blue. To the observers on the massive alien fleets, it looked almost laughable. "This is it?" a voice hissed from the command bridge of the Zoltran flagship, the largest warship in the quadrant. "This fragile human ship?" "Yes," replied another alien, its 4 eyes blinking in disbelief. "They call themselves humans, and they send one ship to face the might of the Virelian fleet?" The aliens laughed, a sound that echoed through the metal corridors of their ships. For generations, humans had been seen as small, weak, and unpredictable. They were clever, yes, but clever was no match for fleets the size of moons, bristling with weapons that could obliterate entire planets. But inside the human ship, things were very different. "Report," Commander Arya Holt said, her tone calm and steady. She did not laugh. She did not panic. Her dark hair was tied back in a neat braid, and her green eyes scanned the monitors in front of her. Every system read normal. Every sensor worked perfectly. "Alien fleets detected," her communications officer replied. "They are assembling for interception." Arya leaned forward slightly, studying the screen. The sensors showed dozens of massive ships, their formations tight and aggressive. But even as the numbers intimidated, she felt no fear. Fear was useless. Planning, speed, and creativity mattered far more. "They underestimate us," she said, quietly. "Good. That will make it easier." Her second-in-command, Lieutenant Jalen Ortiz, frowned. "Commander, are you sure this is wise? One human ship against an entire fleet." Arya smiled faintly. "It is exactly why we are doing this, Jalen. They believe they are invincible. They have never faced humans on their terms." The crew moved with quiet efficiency. Each member knew their role perfectly, honed by countless drills and simulations. They were small in number, but not weak. Every human on this ship was trained to think, to act, and to improvise. Meanwhile, across the void, the alien fleets prepared. Gigantic weapons arrays rotated into position. Energy shields flickered on. The hum of engines filled the empty space like a chorus of low thunder. They were confident. Nothing the humans could do would matter. "Prepare communications," Arya said. "Let's greet our guests politely." A few minutes later, a message appeared across the alien fleet's view screens. It was simple. "Greetings. We come in peace. We seek only safe passage through your sector." The aliens laughed again, louder this time. One of their commanders, a tall, blue-skinned being named Vrekth, leaned over his console. "Peace? They send one ship and call it peace? These humans are either very brave or very foolish." "They are weak," another said. "A single strike will crush them. Why waste time negotiating?" But Vrekth paused, just slightly. He had studied humans in the past. They were unpredictable, yes, but sometimes clever. Still, he shrugged. "We will see. Prepare the fleet. Let's show them the power of the Virelian armada." Back on the human ship, Arya did not respond to the laughter. She studied her crew. Every sensor officer, every engineer, every pilot was calm. Calm and ready. "Jalen," she said, "activate the stealth protocols. Let's make sure they see us, but not too clearly." Jalen typed a sequence of commands. A faint shimmer appeared around the ship, subtle enough that alien sensors might read their size incorrectly. Every human on board knew what was coming. It was not about firepower, it was about precision, intelligence, and timing. Hours passed. The human ship drifted closer to the alien fleet. From the outside, it looked small and harmless, but inside, the crew was alive with quiet energy. Each human knew their part in the plan. "Sensors show multiple scans," the communications officer said. "They are probing us." Let them, Arya said. We want them to be confident. Overconfidence is dangerous, and it is our advantage. The aliens, confident in their superiority, began to move. Their massive ships formed a semicircle intending to trap the human vessel. Drones flew out, scanning the ship from every angle. Missiles were armed, weapons systems calibrated. Brace for contact, Jalen muttered, though it was more habit than fear. Arya smiled faintly. Contact is already here. The alien fleet sent another communication. It was harsh, mocking, and full of threats. Surrender your ship, humans, or be destroyed. You cannot survive against us. Arya's response was calm, almost serene. We do not surrender. We prefer negotiation, but we are prepared for any outcome. The aliens scoffed. They could not believe such a small ship dared speak with such confidence. To them, the humans were nothing. But confidence mattered. Humans had survived in harsh environments, on death worlds, in hostile conditions, and in conflicts far beyond what many species imagined. They were clever, fast thinkers and capable of working together like no other species, and they had a plan. Prepare the probe, Arya said. Let's see if our little friend can greet them. A small, sleek device was released from the ship. It was tiny, almost invisible, and it flew straight into the middle of the alien fleet's formation. Sensors could not detect it clearly. Its presence was subtle, a whisper in the vast expanse of space. The humans watched, calm and steady. Every move was deliberate. Every decision was measured. They did not panic. They did not hesitate. Commander, Jalen said quietly, if they detect the probe, they won't. Arya interrupted softly. Not yet. Timing is everything. Baya. Aliens continued their preparations, oblivious. Their arrogance blinded them. They believed that one ship, no matter how clever, could not outsmart hundreds of vessels. But humans thrived where others underestimated them. Where aliens saw weakness, humans saw opportunity. Where others saw danger, humans saw challenge. Maintain position, Arya ordered. Wait for the signal. The hours passed slowly. Stars shone coldly, indifferent to the drama unfolding in the void. The alien fleet grew restless, convinced that the humans were hiding fear behind calmness. They are frozen, Vreck said. Surely they will strike or run. Why do they wait? Humans are strange, another replied. They do not fight like other species. They think differently. But still, they are weak. One strike, and it will be over. Little did they know, the humans were already several steps ahead. The probe had mapped the alien fleet's energy signatures. It had detected weaknesses, gaps in communication, and the timing of shield cycles. Every detail, every nuance was recorded. Arya leaned back in her chair. They believe they are safe, she said. And that is exactly why they are not. The Dar alien fleet did not know it yet, but a storm was quietly forming. Not a storm of fire, not a storm of rage, but a storm of strategy, precision, and human ingenuity. One small ship, one clever crew, and a universe about to learn that humans were far from weak. As the stars stretched endlessly around them, Commander Arya Holt allowed herself a small smile. The moment of reckoning was near. Hold steady, she whispered. Soon, they will see us, and they will regret underestimating humanity. The vast alien fleet loomed larger as the human ship approached. Ships the size of mountains glinted under distant stars, their engines humming like 1,000 thunderstorms. But the human crew remained calm, moving with quiet efficiency. Each crew member understood their role perfectly. Commander Holt, Lieutenant Jalen Ortiz, said, They're adjusting formation. They want to surround us. Arya glanced at the sensors, noticing the changes. The aliens were confident. They believed that size and numbers guaranteed victory, but humans had something far more valuable: ingenuity. Good, Arya said. Let them think they have the advantage. It will make them careless. Her words were not empty bravado. The human ship was small, but its systems were cutting edge. Every panel, every sensor, every maneuvering thruster was optimized for precision. While the aliens relied on brute force, humans relied on intelligence. "Activate stealth probe," she ordered. A small device slipped silently from the hull. Unlike the alien drones, it was invisible to ordinary sensors. Its purpose was simple but crucial: gather detailed information about the enemy's energy shields, weapon timing, and communication signals. Every second of data would be used. Jalen raised an eyebrow. "They'll see the probe if it gets too close." "Not if we stay clever," Arya replied. She tapped a few keys, adjusting the probe's trajectory. It glided between alien ships, like a shadow, recording every detail without detection. Meanwhile, the alien fleet continued its maneuvers. Massive warships moved to encircle the human vessel, their cannons trained and ready. On the bridge of the Zoltran flagship, Commander Vrecht barked orders. "Prepare for attack," he commanded. "Their ship is weak. One blast will end them. Why waste time on diplomacy?" The alien crews laughed, confident in their superiority. They had never faced humans who could think this way. To them, cleverness was meaningless against overwhelming power. But humans thrived where others underestimated them. Every challenge was an opportunity. Every obstacle could be solved. "Jalen," Arya said, "initiate minor maneuvers. Make them think we are reacting to fear." The human ship began to drift slightly, tilting and turning with subtle shifts. From a distance, it looked uncoordinated, almost frightened. The aliens noticed. "They're trying to escape," one of the alien officers exclaimed. "Do not fire yet," Vrecht said. "Wait until they make a mistake." Arya watched carefully. Every alien movement was predictable in its arrogance. Their overconfidence created gaps, openings that a larger, slower fleet might miss. But humans noticed. Humans adapted. "Probe is in position," Jalen reported. "Good," Arya said. "Start data collection, make it quick." The probe drifted silently through the fleet, gathering energy readings, shield cycles, and weapon calibration information. It recorded every pulse and every pattern. Humans did not need to rush. They were patient. Precision mattered more than speed. Hours passed. The alien fleet grew restless. They fired warning shots, energy pulses that lit up space with dazzling brilliance. The human ship adjusted carefully, moving just enough to avoid damage, showing no fear. "They are too calm," an alien officer said nervously. "Why are they not panicking?" Vrecht frowned. Humans were unpredictable, yes, but usually smaller. Species froze when threatened, not these humans. Their calm was unnerving. On the human ship, Arya kept the crew focused. "Maintain position. Watch patterns. Everything we need is in the data." The crew moved like a single organism. Pilots adjusted, thrusters in tiny increments. Engineers fine-tuned shields. Communications officers intercepted signals and decoded patterns. Every action was deliberate. Every moment counted. Jalen leaned over his console. "Commander, the probe shows a weak point in their shield cycle. It's very brief, only a fraction of a second. If we act now, we can disrupt their systems without firing a single missile." Arya smiled. "Exactly what I was hoping for. Prepare for the strike." The alien fleet remained confident. They had never seen humans work this way. To them, strength was measured in size and firepower. They could not understand that humans measured strength in intelligence, precision, and timing. "Commander Holt," a young officer asked nervously, "are we sure this will work? It seemed almost too simple." Arya leaned forward. "Simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Trust your training. Trust each other. And trust that humans are more capable than they believe." She tapped the ICR console, sending a subtle signal to the probe. It activated a minor electromagnetic pulse invisible to the aliens at first. The pulse passed through the fleet like a whisper, harmless yet powerful in its effect. It interfered with the aliens' shield timing and communication signals. Confusion spread. Alien weapons flickered, engines stuttered. The massive fleet lost coordination for just a few crucial moments. But it was enough. "What is happening?" Vrecht shouted. Our shields, our communications, they are malfunctioning. Arya's crew watched calmly. They did not cheer. They did not panic. They observed the results with quiet satisfaction. "Jalen," Arya said, "record everything. Do not let them recover before we finish." The aliens scrambled to repair their systems, but the humans had already gathered the information they needed. They knew the precise moment to act, the exact timing for maximum effect. "Prepare for extraction," Arya said. "Probe. Return. To ship." The small device slipped back into the human vessel, carrying all the collected data. The crew analyzed it instantly. Every weakness, every cycle, every vulnerability had been mapped. Humans were ready. The aliens, meanwhile, had begun to panic. Their massive fleet, confident just moments before, now seemed disorganized. Energy pulses misfired. Engines glitched. Communication lines overlapped. All because a small human ship had acted with intelligence and precision. "This is impossible," one alien officer muttered. "How can one ship—" Arya shook her head slightly. "It is not about size. It is about skill, timing, and thought. One human ship can do what hundreds of others cannot." The alien fleet continued to struggle. They were still larger, still powerful, still armed to destroy planets. But their confidence had been shaken. They had underestimated humans, and that mistake would cost them dearly. "Now," Arya said softly, "we wait. Let them make the next move." Humans knew patience was as powerful as any weapon. They allowed the aliens to overextend, to miscalculate, to act out of arrogance. "Commander," Jalen said, "they are repositioning. They think they can correct their mistake." "Let them," Arya replied. "Their actions will only reveal more weaknesses. Stay ready. Observe. Learn. And when the time comes—" The human crew did not fear the coming confrontation. They welcomed it. Every challenge was an opportunity to show that humans were not weak. Every moment was a chance to demonstrate intelligence, strategy, and ethical strength. And as the alien fleet moved, unaware of the subtle control humans already had over the situation, Arya allowed herself a small smile. "They are about to learn what humans are capable of," she said, "and it all starts with patience, observation, and cleverness." The stars stretched endlessly around them. The alien fleet remained a looming threat, massive and intimidating. But the humans were not intimidated. They were ready. One small ship, one clever crew, and a plan that would change the aliens' perception forever. In the vast emptiness of space, intelligence and strategy mattered more than size and firepower, and humans had both in abundance. As the human ship glided silently forward, the aliens' laughter faded. For the first time, doubt crept into their minds. For the first time, they realized that these small, strange creatures they had laughed at were far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. The encounter had begun. The alien fleet was in disarray. What had seemed like an unstoppable armada now faltered, their systems flickering and struggling. Massive warships drifted as their communication links wavered. Sensors misread distances, weapons misfired, and engines stuttered. All of this because of a small human ship, barely noticeable among the stars. Inside the human vessel, Commander Arya Holt observed everything calmly. Her green eyes scanned the displays, following the subtle shifts in the alien fleet's formation. Every misstep, every weak point, every opening was recorded. "Commander," Lieutenant Jalen Ortiz said, leaning over the console, "we have all the data. Their shields, their energy patterns. It's perfect. We know exactly when and where to act." Arya nodded. "Good. Prepare the ship. Today we will teach them what humans are capable of." Unlike the aliens, humans did not rely on raw firepower. Their warship carried a single advanced weapon, not for destruction, but for precision impact. Its purpose was subtle but powerful, a combination of electromagnetic pulses, AI-guided targeting, and precise energy manipulation. One well-calculated shot could disable an entire fleet without unnecessary damage. "Charge the primary system," Arya ordered. Engineers moved quickly, their hands steady on controls. Lights blinked as the energy built within the core. The hum of power filled the bridge, but the crew remained calm. They had trained for this moment. The alien fleet remained unaware. They were still confident, still arrogant, still believing that a single human ship could pose no real threat. "They are preparing to move again," Jalen reported. "They think they can fix the disruption. Their shields are partially online, but they are still off-cycle." "Perfect," Arya said. "Hold position. Timing is everything." The human ship's engines glimmered softly, adjusting their position in microseconds. From a distance, it looked almost like the ship was floating aimlessly, unsure of itself. But this was a calculated move. Every second brought them closer to the perfect moment. "Commander," Communications Officer Lyra Chan said, "they are signaling each other, trying to reorganize." "Let them," Arya replied. "Their communications are slow. They cannot process our patterns. Humans see the gaps they cannot." Across the void, alien commanders barked orders, trying to regain control. Massive ships lurched and spun as crews struggled to synchronize shields and engines. Their arrogance was failing them. "Prepare the strike," Arya said. "We only need one shot." The weapon system hummed, ready. Energy pulses formed in the core, guided by AI calculations so precise that even the slightest misalignment was corrected instantly. Humans had perfected this technology, combining science, observation, and timing into a single decisive action. Jalen's hands hovered over his console. Targeting ready. Shields aligned with their cycle weaknesses. Moment of impact in 3, 2. Arya's calm voice cut through the tension. "Fire." The human ship released the weapon. A single pulse of energy, invisible at first, shot forward. It moved faster than the eye could see, guided by the AI, twisting around shields and slipping through energy gaps. For a moment, nothing seemed to happen. Then the alien fleet began to falter. Engines lost power. Weapons went offline. Communication lines scrambled. Massive ships drifted helplessly, unable to respond to each other. Their coordinated assault was no more. "What? What did they do?" Frecht shouted, staring at his console. "Our systems. They are frozen. How?" Arya watched silently, every movement of the fleet displayed on her monitors. The aliens had been immobilized, but no one had been harmed. The human crew had acted with precision, efficiency, and restraint. "They underestimated humans," Jalen said quietly. "They thought size was everything." Arya nodded. "Humans measure strength differently. Intelligence, timing, and teamwork are as important as weapons. Sometimes, more important." The alien fleet struggled to understand what had happened. They were still massive, still armed, still powerful. But one moment of human ingenuity had shown them that numbers and size were not everything. A single small ship had outsmarted them all. "Commander," Lyra said, "their flagship is trying to move. They might attempt a counterattack." "Let them," Arya replied. "We are prepared. Observation first, precision second, violence only if necessary, and I see no need for that." The crew adjusted shields and engines, maintaining position. The weapon had done its work. The aliens were no longer coordinated, but they were not destroyed. Humans valued life. Even in confrontation, ethics mattered. In the alien fleet, panic spread. Crews scrambled, their training unable to compensate for the precision and intelligence of the human strike. Orders were shouted, systems recalibrated, but every attempt failed. Humans had anticipated every move. "This is unprecedented," Brecht muttered. "A single ship, one strike, and we cannot move." Arya leaned back in her chair, watching the chaos unfold on the monitors. "Unprecedented is what humans do best," she said softly. Minutes passed. The alien fleet, massive as it was, remained frozen in place. The human crew had not fired again. They had no need. Their strategy worked. Humans had proven that cleverness, precision, and timing could accomplish what brute force could not. "Commander," Jalen said, We have full data from the strike. Every ship's weakness, every pattern. We could disable the entire fleet, if needed, but no need, Arya interrupted. We show them what humans can do, not what humans will do. Let them learn from this. For the first time, doubt filled the alien commanders' minds. They had mocked the humans, laughed at their small ship, and assumed victory was certain. But one strike had shattered their confidence. One clever ethical action had shown them that size and firepower were not the only measure of strength. They are different, Frecht admitted aloud. They do not fight like other species. They are humans, another whispered. We underestimated them. Inside the human ship, the crew remained calm, observing the alien fleet. No one celebrated with loud cheers or boastful gestures. Their satisfaction came from the knowledge that precision, intelligence, and teamwork had won the day. Arya stood and looked out at the stars. The human ship was small, almost insignificant among the massive alien fleet, yet it had demonstrated power far greater than its size suggested. They will remember this, she said quietly, not because we destroyed them, but because we outsmarted them. The alien fleet slowly stabilized. Their systems returned online, but coordination remained imperfect. They no longer saw humans as weak. A single human ship had forced them to rethink strategy, tactics, and their assumptions about strength. Prepare communications, Arya said. It is time to speak. Let them understand what has happened. Lyra hesitated. Commander, do we really want to talk to them after this? Yes, Arya replied. Respect is earned by action, but understanding must follow. Humans do not act recklessly. We act wisely. A message was sent. Simple, direct. Your fleet is capable, but your assumptions about humans are incorrect. Strength is not only in size or numbers. Consider this a lesson in intelligence, timing, and restraint. The alien commanders received the message with stunned silence. For the first time, they felt a strange mix of fear and admiration. Humans had not destroyed them. Humans had not fired repeatedly. Humans had acted with precision and ethics, proving that cleverness and teamwork were more powerful than arrogance. In the human ship, Arya smiled faintly. One strike, she said softly, and the galaxy begins to see humans differently. Jalen looked at her, admiration in his eyes. They will never underestimate us again. Good, Arya replied. Let them learn, and let them remember that humans measure strength differently. We fight with mind and heart, not only weapons. The stars stretched endlessly around them. The alien fleet drifted silently, massive, but humbled. The human ship remained small, almost fragile in appearance, yet it had proven its value beyond question. This was the moment humans had been waiting for. One small strike, one perfect calculation, and an entire armada had been humbled. Not destroyed, not harmed unnecessarily, but taught a lesson they would never forget. The alien fleet drifted silently in space, their massive ship still struggling to regain perfect coordination. The human single strike had left a mark, not in destruction, but in understanding. The once confident commanders were now uncertain. They had never encountered a species that could act with such precision, intelligence, and restraint. Commander Arya Holt remained calm on her ship. Her crew moved quietly, checking instruments, adjusting systems, and observing the alien fleet's behavior. They had achieved what they needed. The aliens had been humbled without bloodshed. Commander, Lieutenant Jalen Ortiz said, they are hesitant. I think they want to communicate. Arya nodded. Good. Let's hear them out. Humans are not just fighters. We are diplomats too when the situation calls. The communication channels flickered to life. On the main screen, a holographic image of Frecht appeared, his 4 blue eyes wide with a mixture of awe and apprehension. His massive frame seemed smaller somehow, diminished by the understanding of what had just occurred. Human Commander, he said, his voice measured. Your actions, they are unlike anything we expected. Your ship, your strike. It has disabled our fleet without harm. How is this possible? Arya's expression remained calm. It is simple. Humans rely on intelligence, observation, and precise timing. We do not measure strength by size or number alone. We measure it by skill, by understanding, and by ethical choice. We could have destroyed your fleet, but that was not our goal. Frecht's eyes narrowed, processing the words. You mean, you did not intend to harm us? Correct, Arya replied. Our goal was to demonstrate capability, not cause destruction. Strength is most valuable when it is controlled and ethical. We act with precision, not recklessness. We act with purpose, not cruelty. The other alien commanders on the holographic feed exchanged glances. They had always believed power came from firepower, from overwhelming numbers, from force. They had never considered the idea that a small, intelligent, and ethical species could challenge them without violence. Why? One of the aliens asked, almost in disbelief. Why show us this? Why not take advantage? Arya smiled faintly. Because respect is earned, not forced. Fear may make a fleet obey for a moment, but understanding creates lasting change. Humans believe in balance, strength guided by wisdom. That is what we are demonstrating. The aliens were silent. They had not expected words like these, spoken calmly and with confidence. They had expected arrogance, aggression, or fear. Not this measured, confident approach. Your species, it is remarkable, Frecht finally admitted. You do not fight like others. You do not use power recklessly. You think, Arya nodded. Exactly. Thinking, observing, and working together are our greatest weapons. Not because we cannot fight, but because we choose to use intelligence before force. We solve problems efficiently and ethically. For the first time, the aliens realized the full scope of human capability. They had assumed the humans were weak, that their small ship was nothing compared to the might of an armada. And yet here, they were, teaching the aliens a lesson in strategy, precision, and morality. Commander Holt, Frecht said slowly, you have changed our perspective. We believed humans were insignificant, but now, we see that you are not. You are different. We underestimated you. Yes, Arya said, and that is often the first mistake made against humans. We are underestimated because we are small or unusual, because we do not fight like others. But we adapt, we think, we act together, and we measure strength not only by force but by ethics, timing, and intelligence. The aliens seemed to pause, as if the words themselves carried weight beyond comprehension. They had never considered that a species could be so clever, so disciplined, and so ethical in the use of power. Your single strike, Frecht continued, it was precise. One moment, and our fleet immobilized. No one was harmed. And yet, we were forced to rethink our strategy. Arya allowed herself a small nod. That is correct. Humans act with control. We can destroy, yes, but we choose efficiency and understanding. The galaxy is large and we believe in survival, not needless conflict. Our way is different, but effective. Across the alien fleet, subtle shifts occurred. Ships that had been bristling with weapons now stood in stillness. Alien crews whispered to each other, reevaluating everything they had believed about humans. This small species, with a single ship, had demonstrated intelligence and capability far beyond their apparent size. Frecht leaned forward. Your species, it is capable of much more than we imagined. Perhaps we were wrong to mock humans. Arya's eyes met his through the hologram. It is easy to mock what you do not understand. Humans survive, humans adapt, and humans excel in ways others cannot predict. We respect life, but we are not powerless. Underestimate us again, and the consequences will be your own making. There was a pause. The aliens were silent, reflecting on the lesson they had just received. A mixture of awe and respect filled the holographic chamber. For the first time, the humans were not outsiders, not weak, not insignificant. They were teachers, showing a galaxy-wide species what intelligence, precision, and ethics could achieve. "Commander, Holt," Vrecht finally said, "we wish to learn from humans, not to challenge, but to cooperate. Your species has wisdom that we have not seen before." Arya nodded. "We welcome cooperation, as long as it is based on mutual respect and understanding. Humans are willing to share knowledge, not to dominate, but to help others see that cleverness, precision, and ethics are valuable. The galaxy can benefit from collaboration." The alien commanders exchanged glances. They had expected a fight. They had expected defiance, perhaps even a surrender. But what they found was something far more powerful. Humans who acted with intelligence, patience, and moral strength. "You have taught us an important lesson," Vrecht said finally. "Strength is not only in numbers or firepower, but in thought, strategy, and restraint. Humans are extraordinary." Arya allowed herself a faint smile. "Thank you. And remember, the galaxy is full of challenges. Strength is measured not only in conflict, but in how wisely it is used." The conversation ended. The alien fleet slowly resumed normal operations, but the atmosphere had changed. They no longer saw humans as weak. They no longer laughed at a small ship. They had been shown the value of intelligence, precision, and ethical strength. On the human ship, Arya turned to her crew. "They understand now," she said. "They have seen that humans are capable, clever, and ethical. That is more important than any victory in battle." Jalen smiled. "Commander, I think we just changed the galaxy's perception of humans." "Yes," Arya said quietly. "One small ship, one precise action, and a message that will echo for years. Humans are not weak. We are capable, adaptable, and ethical. And now, so are they beginning to see it too." The stars stretched endlessly around them. The alien fleet moved silently, massive and powerful, but their confidence had been tempered by the subtle strength of a human crew. For the first time, they truly understood that humans were not to be underestimated. "Prepare to set course," Arya said. "We have a message to deliver, not with weapons, but with our actions and intelligence. The galaxy will remember today, not for destruction, but for the wisdom humans have shown." As the human ship glided forward, the crew remained calm and composed. Their mission had succeeded. They had demonstrated that strength was not always in brute force, that intelligence, teamwork, and ethics could achieve what might alone never could. And in that moment, humanity's place in the galaxy shifted. No longer merely a small underestimated species, humans were now recognized for their cleverness, their morality, and their precision. The revelation was clear. Humans were extraordinary, not because they fought harder or faster, but because they thought smarter, acted ethically, and worked together as one. The stars of Virelia shimmered faintly in the distance, but the galaxy was beginning to shine in a new way for humanity. The humans' small ship, its sleek hull glinting softly in the void, had become a symbol, not of violence, but of intelligence, precision, and ethical strength. Inside the human vessel, Commander Arya Holt reviewed the fleet data one last time. Her crew moved quietly, checking systems and preparing reports. They had demonstrated power beyond size, but more importantly, they had shown restraint, strategy, and morality. Lieutenant Jalen Ortiz leaned over her console. "Commander, the aliens have sent messages to the Council. They are speaking highly of humans. It seems our reputation is spreading." Arya nodded. "Good. Humans are not known for boasting. We let our actions speak. But now the galaxy is learning the truth. Humans are capable, clever, and ethical, and..." Messages flowed in from other sectors. Species that had once mocked humans were now reconsidering their assumptions. Smaller fleets, once fearful of confrontation, were curious. Larger civilizations, once dismissive, were cautious. One small ship had shifted the perception of an entire species across multiple systems. "Commander," Communications Officer Lyra Chan said, "the Galactic Council has requested a formal meeting. They want humans to speak, to share strategy and insight." Arya's eyes sparkled. Prepare the presentation, but remember, we teach with clarity and ethics, not arrogance. Humans lead by example, not force. The council chamber was massive, orbiting a neutral star. Species of all shapes, sizes, and colors filled the seats. Once, humans would have been outsiders, barely noticed among the grandeur. Now they were welcomed as respected participants. Recht, the blue-skinned alien commander, whose fleet had faced Arya's single strike, stood to address the assembly. "Honored council members," he said, "we once underestimated humans. We believed them weak, unimportant, and simple. But they have shown us something remarkable: intelligence, precision, and ethics. Qualities that even great fleets must respect." A murmur spread through the chamber. Aliens exchanged glances, some nodding, others still in awe. Humans had done what few could: earn respect through action alone. Arya stepped forward, calm and composed. "Esteemed members of the council," she began, her voice clear and confident. "Humans have faced many challenges in their history. We survive where others might fail. We adapt when situations change, and we act with intelligence, not recklessness. Today, our goal is not to boast, but to share knowledge, to show that strength is most powerful when guided by ethics, teamwork, and precise thought." She paused, letting her words sink in. The chamber was silent, every species listening carefully. Humans had never claimed superiority through fear or threats. Instead, they spoke with reason, clarity, and calm authority. "Your fleet," Arya continued, addressing the assembly, "was impressed by a single human ship. That ship did not destroy. It did not harm unnecessarily. It acted with calculated precision, gathering data and demonstrating capability. Strength is not only in firepower. Strength is in intelligence, in timing, in teamwork, and in the choices we make." The council members nodded. Some whispered among themselves, amazed that a species so small in size could command such respect. Others leaned forward, eager to learn more. Jalen watched quietly beside Arya. "Commander, they're actually listening. I think they understand." "Yes," Arya replied softly. "Humans lead by example. That is our greatest power. Others will follow, not because they fear us, but because they respect what we do and how we think." After her speech, the council opened discussions. Alien species who had once mocked humans now asked questions about strategy, ethics, and problem-solving. They wanted to understand how one small ship had altered their perception and forced reflection on their own assumptions. One elder alien, a shimmering creature with translucent wings, asked, "How do humans train to act so precisely and ethically in critical situations?" Arya smiled. "We combine knowledge, teamwork, and moral guidance. Every human learns to value life, to solve problems, and to act with intelligence. That combination allows us to face challenges without unnecessary harm, yet remain capable and strong." Across the chamber, whispers spread. "Remarkable," some said. "Clever beyond expectation." Others nodded in silent agreement. Humans were not just clever, they were exceptional in thought, ethics, and action. As discussions continued, humans were invited to demonstrate strategy exercises. Not combat, but simulations of problem-solving under pressure. They showed how observation, communication, and teamwork could achieve results that brute force could not. The aliens watched in awe. Even fleets much larger than humans had been humbled by a combination of intelligence and ethics. It was a lesson they would not forget. Outside the council chamber, the human ship glided silently through space. The stars reflected softly on its hull. Crew members spoke quietly, proud of what they had accomplished, not through destruction but through intelligence and restraint. "Commander," Jalen said, looking at the stars, "we've changed how the galaxy sees humans. From now on, they'll think twice before underestimating us." Arya nodded. "Yes, and more than that, they will see what humans can do when we combine skill, ethics, and teamwork. That is our legacy." News spread quickly. Across multiple systems, humans were no longer the underestimated species. They were respected as capable thinkers, ethical actors, and strategic leaders. Other civilizations began requesting cooperation, eager to learn from the humans' approach to problem-solving, diplomacy, and strategic planning. Even the fleets that had once mocked humanity began to take guidance, adjusting their own strategies, rethinking assumptions about strength, and valuing intelligence over brute force. Humans were not just participants, they were becoming teachers, showing the galaxy that power could be wielded wisely and ethically. Back on the human ship, Arya stood in the observation deck, gazing at the stars stretching endlessly around them. Each point of light seemed to reflect possibility. Humans had always thrived in adversity, adapted when others would fail, and acted with clarity when situations were uncertain. Lyra approached quietly. "Commander, it's amazing. One ship, one action, and the galaxy is beginning to respect humans." Arya smiled faintly. "Humans are not limited by size or appearance. We are limited only by imagination and ethics. Today we've shown that cleverness guided by principle is more powerful than any fleet of weapons. And tomorrow, the galaxy will see even more." As the crew prepared for their next mission, the message was clear. Humans had risen in reputation, not by dominating others, not by fear, but by intellect, strategy, and morality. One clever strike had altered perceptions, and a single small crew had begun to change the course of interstellar relations. The stars stretched endlessly ahead. Humanity's path was just beginning. But the galaxy now knew this truth. Humans were capable of extraordinary things. They were adaptable, clever, precise, and ethical. They could solve problems that no other species could. And above all, they could lead by example, showing that strength was measured not in weapons alone, but in intelligence, timing, teamwork, and morality. Commander Arya Holt looked at her crew. "Humans are not just survivors. We are thinkers, planners, and guides. The galaxy will remember that not because we forced it, but because we showed it." And the galaxy did remember. Across the stars, in countless fleets and civilizations, humans became a symbol of ingenuity, ethics, and intelligence. Aliens whispered stories of the single human ship that outsmarted an entire fleet. Students studied human tactics and strategy. Leaders sought their counsel. The reputation of humanity had risen, not through fear or force, but through cleverness, morality, and precision. One small action had echoed across light years, proving a truth that would be remembered for generations. Humans were extraordinary. And as the human ship glided through the cosmos, Commander Holt and her crew knew the adventure had only begun. The galaxy was vast, full of challenges, mysteries, and opportunities. But humans were ready. Ready to explore, to teach, and to show that intelligence, ethics, and teamwork could shape the stars themselves. The galaxy had learned a lesson. Never underestimate humans. They were clever, they were capable, and they acted with precision and heart. Humanity's rising star had begun to shine, and nothing, not size, not numbers, not arrogance, could dim it.